we're going to welcome Chrissy Rey from Pongos Learning Lab. And Pongos is a community center for all things science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. So notice the STEAM, located in Crofton, Maryland. And they offer clubs, camps, classes, birthday parties, and enrichment programs for grades pre-K through 8. Younger kids can enjoy their indoor play center, and which is also known as Little Learners Lab, and adults can even get in on the fun too with classes and special events created just for them. So hi, Chrissy, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. And I'm now just going to hand it over to you, and you get to show us some really fun, cool things.
Great, thank you. Let me just make sure I can share my screen. Share that real quick. All right, so as Janet said, my name is Chrissy Rey, and I'm with the Pongos Learning Lab. One of the clubs that we have at the Learning Lab is a coding class, Coder Kids Club, and we teach kids as young as kindergarten how to do programming, and we go up through about 8th grade for programming. We've had a few pre-K kids. For pre-K through about 1st or 2nd grade, we usually use a program called Scratch Junior, which you can download for free and install on an iOS or an Android device or a Kindle. It's really easy to use. You can make animations, simple animations and games with it. The program that I'm going to demonstrate tonight is called Scratch. And we usually start with Scratch with about 2nd grade. Depends on the kid, sometimes 1st grade. But you do need to be able to read reasonably well with Scratch because there are some words in it, nothing too hard. But you can make really neat animations and games, and some kids may have done this in school before, but I'm going to give a little demonstration on how to create a simple animation in Scratch. So the first thing you would do is go to the Scratch website, which is scratch.mit.edu. This is a free program. It's a free website. And so once you get to scratch.mit.edu, you're going to click on Start Creating. And that's going to take us into the coding interface, which looks like this. And I'm going to close this tutorial down here because I'm going to be your tutorial. You don't need to use that. Move this out of the way. All right, so when you get into Scratch, you get a little cat over here on the right side. You've got this big open area in the middle, which is going to be where I'm going to put my code. And then on the left side, we have a bunch of blocks that we can use. And the really cool thing with Scratch, you don't actually have to really do much typing when you're coding with Scratch. It's mostly drag and drop, which is really easy because if you're not really good at writing, you're not really good at typing, you don't have to worry about that. With some of our more advanced programming classes that we do, so for kids in like 4th grade, 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade, and 8th grade, usually 5th grade and up, we do have them do some typing programming, which is a little bit harder. But if you're not really used to typing, don't worry about that for Scratch. So I've got this cat here. My cat's name is Scratch. I guess that's what his name is. And I'm going to program this cat to move a little bit. So the first thing that I need to do is I need to figure out when the cat is going to move. And in Scratch and in a lot of programming languages, you do that using something called an event. So if I look over here on the left side of my screen, I can see the word events. It's highlighted in yellow. So if I click on that, then I can see what events I have for when I can trigger code. So you can see one of them is this when green flag clicked. Now, if you look elsewhere on the screen, you might notice, and I'm going to move my mouse over to it, there's a little green flag right there. So that's the green flag that it's referring to. So if I take this when green flag clicked and I drag it over here, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit so it's easier to see my code. There we go. So you can see that code a little bit better on the screen. So now when I click on the green flag, watch this. Nothing happens. That's because I've said when the code is going to run or what's going to happen when I click on the green flag, but I haven't actually programmed anything to happen when I click on the green flag. So I can click on this green flag and nothing happens to my cat. So the next thing I have to do is decide what's going to actually happen to the cat when I click on that green flag. And for me, I want to make the cat move across the stage, move across this area over here. So I'm going to go to motion, which is where we're going to move things. And there's a command there that says move 10 steps. So I'll drag that, and you can see when I move it over towards this when green flag clicked, if I move it a little bit closer, I get a little shadow there. When I let go, it snaps it right up against that when green flag clicked. Now watch what happens when I click on the green flag. You can see it moves 10 steps. Pretty easy, right? I have to keep clicking on that green flag and eventually the cat's gonna run off the side of the stage. Now, if I wanna make it go backwards, this is where a little bit of typing comes into play. I can change this to move minus 10 steps. All right, now watch what happens when I click on the green flag and my cat moves backwards. Pretty neat. All right, so that's pretty basic. What if I want to animate this so that the cat moves automatically? That's pretty easy to do. I'm gonna change this back to 10. Move 10 steps. And I want to make it so that when, instead of having to actually click that green button over and over and over again, I'm going to have it automatically move the cat across the stage for me. So the way that I do that is with something called a loop. And a loop is a special command in Scratch, in Java, and all kinds of other different programming languages that allows you to run code multiple times. So we find those in the Scratch interface under Control. So if I click on Control, you can see here that I've got this command here that says repeat 10 times, and then another one that says forever. So I'm going to use the forever loop. And I'm just going to drag this over here, and you can see I can pop it there, but I don't want to pop it right there. I want to put it around that move 10 steps. So I moved it around the move 10 steps. So now it says when green flag clicked, I'm going to do something forever. I'm going to move 10 steps forever. So watch what happens. When I just click once on the green flag this time, my cat moves across the stage. It still moves off the side of the stage, which isn't exactly what I want, but I'm going to fix that in just a minute. All right, so it's actually still moving. It would still be moving. So if I drag this cat back over, you can see that it automatically moves back off to the right. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make it so that when the cat gets to the right side of the stage, when it touches the edge, it's going to bounce backwards. And it's going to keep going back and forth forever. So as long as it touches one side of the stage, it's going to go backwards into the other direction. And then when it touches the left side of the stage, it's going to go back and go towards the right side of the stage. So we go back to motion. And I'm going to scroll down a little bit in motion. And you'll see that there's a command here that says if on edge bounce. So this is sort of like an if statement. So we're asking to say, is it on the edge? And if this is true, if it's on the edge, then it's going to bounce in the opposite direction. So if I just drag this in here inside of the forever loop, watch what happens. So it's just going to bounce back and forth. Back and forth and back and forth. All right, let me stop this. There we go. Now I want to make this look a little bit more interesting. So first it's moving back and forth. It's just going back and forth in a straight line. But I want to change it so that it's going to bounce all over the place. So the next thing I'm going to do is before I move 10 steps, before this forever loop, I'm going to change the rotation, the direction that my cat is facing. So you can see here, I've got this command turn, and this is right 15 degrees. So I'm going to drag that right there. I'm going to put it before the forever loop, and now watch what happens. Let me change this back to 90. That's the default. All right, now watch this. Now it's bouncing all over the place. Pretty cool, huh? All right. So that was pretty easy. Now, if I wanted to change it so that instead of a cat, it was a dinosaur or a hippo or a bat or something like that, it's relatively easy to do. So right now, I've just been working with the default Scratch cat and the background, which is a white background on my stage. So to change the graphic, which is currently the cat, I would just go to my sprite one here. I would just click on that. And I'm going to go to my costumes up here on the top. All right, so I can see here is my Scratch cat. I'm going to add a new costume. I'm going to choose a costume by clicking this button down in the bottom left corner. And I'm going to search for hippo. There's a hippo. And I'm actually going to add hippo B as well. There were two hippos. I'm going to add both of them. And the difference between them is one's got its wings open, one's got the wings up. So it looks like it can look like it's flying. All right, and then I'm going to delete the other two costumes. So now I have a hippo flying around. So if I click on my green flag, you can see now it's a hippo instead of a cat. Pretty easy. All right, so I'm going to click back on the code tab. And the next thing I'm going to do is make it so that as it's flying around, those wings are going to look like they're flapping. So to do that, you're going to go to looks over here on the left side. And I'm going to drag next costume into this loop. And now watch what happens. Looks like it's actually flying. All right, so I got my little hippo flying around. Now the next thing I'm going to show you is usually my favorite part. I'm going to make it so that the hippo is going to leave a trail behind as it flies around. So it's going to color in the stage behind it. All right, so let me stop that for a minute. All right, so I need to, excuse me, I need to add my pen. Sorry, I forgot to show you all how to do that. Down in the very bottom left corner, there's a button that's got like a little, looks like some scratch code and a plus. I'm going to click on that to add an extension. And I'm going to add the pen extension. So let me add the pen extension. All right. So I'm going to, when I first click on the green flag, I'm going to set the pen color to, I'm going to make it red. There we go. So I'll make it like a nice bright red there. And then I'm going to put the pen down. So right now it's like I've got a pen here. And right now my pen is just kind of hovering. I've got it set to blue. Actually, let me get a red pen. So I've got my pen here, it's red. And it's just kind of hovering, it's just waiting. In order to actually draw, I need to put the pen down. So that's what I do next. I'm gonna use pen down. So I've got my pen color is set to red, my pen is down, and watch what this does. That's just gonna draw a line. There we go, that's not too exciting. It just draws a red line. I'm going to set the pen size. Oops. To 10. And let's see what that looks like. Makes it a little bit thicker. All right. And then this is where the magic happens. I'm going to change the pen color. Inside of the loop, I'm going to change the pen color by 10. Now watch what this does. That gives me a nice rainbow effect. There we go. Now I wanted to fill it in a little bit faster, so I can change the size of the pen. So I'm going to make it 20. And then let's see. There we go. So I've got a flying hippo that is painting a rainbow trail. Last thing I'm going to do with this hippo, because I want to clear off the rest of the pen that was left behind. So I'm going to, before I do anything at all, and you can see I can position the code where I want it to happen. So the order of the code is important. You want it to erase all here. So right after the when green flag is clicked, I'm going to erase all. If I had erase all inside of the loop, watch what would happen. So it's actually drawing, it's just that right here, I'm using this erase all, and it's erasing everything before you ever actually get to see it. So if I delete that erase all, and you can delete code by just dragging it back over into the library, and now when I play it, you can see there is my rainbow. Pretty exciting. So there's a lot of other stuff that you can do in Scratch. You can, as I said, you can make games. The big thing is that you need to use these events to do things like when you click on a mouse button, or when you click on an arrow or a keyboard key on your keyboard. So there's lots of different things that you can do with it. I've seen kids make things like platformer games, first-person games, all kinds of games. So pick it up, scratch.mit.edu. It's really easy to get started. There are tutorials. So if you click on tutorials, there's a lot of tutorials here. You can see there's a whole bunch of different things like animating an adventure game, creating animations that talk. There's a dice pong game tutorial. That's one that we usually do with kids when we first have them take the class at Coder Kids Club. So there's a lot of things that you can do. So don't be afraid to try it out. When I started as a programmer, I actually have a degree in zoology, which is why I really like working with these animals in Scratch. But when I first started programming, I was very new to it, didn't have any background in it, but I really like to play around with it. So especially when you're using something like Scratch, I do really encourage you to just try it out, play around with it, and see what you can come up with. So that's all I have for today. So Janet, I'm going to go back to you. Oh, let me stop
Thank
sharing my
you.
screen.
That was fantastic. Thank you so much, Chrissy. That was really great. I also love hearing that your background's in zoology, and now you're showing us how to code, and that was
Yep.
just really, really cool. It just shows how dynamic scientists are.
Mm-hmm.
So now's the moment, friends, where it is time to open your box. So inside, when you open your box, you'll find the supplies that are necessary for 11 different experiments, as well as an activity guide from NASA and other materials from area groups with STEAM programs you might be interested in. You can go to ChesapeakeFamily.com STEAM each night, and you will find videos to walk you through all of the activities. There are different speakers and activities every night. They are all recorded so that you can do them whenever you want and as many times as you want. The activities tonight include build a wind-powered sail car sponsored by St. Anne's School of Annapolis, Scribblebots from Chesapeake Arts Center, make a harmonica, and create a simple tessellation. So have fun, and we hope that we'll see you again tomorrow night when we'll be speaking with Dr. Scholl, Assistant Professor of Pediatrics from Johns Hopkins Children's Center. And we're also going to play some cards and show you a few math tricks with Mathnasium and much, much more. And don't forget that we are having a contest, so just a quick reminder, and that you could win a 3-night stay at the Boardwalk Plaza Hotel in Rehoboth Beach. Snap a photo of every completed project you've done from the STEAM Fair and then post it on Chesapeake Family Facebook and Instagram page. Use the hashtag CFL STEAM Fair or hashtag STEAM Fair 2020. So now is time to go do some STEAM projects, and thank you so much for joining us tonight.